let's solve for the roots of this quadratic equation, x squared plus 3x minus 4 is equal to 0, using completing the square. So, our first step in solving quadratic equation is we need to make sure that our leading term, x squared, has a numerical coefficient of 1. Kung 1 na yung numerical coefficient niya, let's proceed to the second step, which is to separate the variable term from the constant term. So, ilipat natin si negative 4 sa kabila. Changing the sign, we will have x squared plus 3x is equal to 4. Now, yung binomial natin, co-convert natin yan to a perfect square trinomial using completing the square. So, ang completing the square, meron siyang formula na c is equal to the square of b over 2. We substitute the value of b, and in this case, the value of b is the numerical coefficient of the variable x. So, yung katabing number ni x, which is positive 3. So, substitute natin, we will have c is equal to the square of 3 over 2. Then, we get the square of 3 over 2. So, we square 3 and 2. We will have c is equal to 9 over 4. So, ito yung value na idadagdag natin sa ating left side to make it a perfect square trinomial. Pero meron tayong rule sa equation. Pag nagdagdag tayo ng value sa left side, we will also add the same value dun sa right side. So, we will also add 9 over 4 sa ating left side of the equation. Yung left side of the equation natin, which is x squared plus 3x plus 9 over 4, we have to factor it using factoring perfect square trinomial. So, express natin siya into the square of x plus 3 over 2. Okay? Tapos, it is equal to 4 plus 9 over 4. Add natin yan. That will give us 25 over 4. Next, let's solve for the value of x using extraction. So, we get the square root of both sides. So, we get the square root of the square quantity of x plus 3 over 2. That will just give us x plus 3 over 2. It is equal to the square root of 25 over 4. So, to get the square root of a fraction, we get the square root of the numerator and the square root of the denominator separately. So, the square root of 25 is 5. The square root of 4 is 2. That will give us a fraction of positive negative 5 over 2. Okay? Now, let's transfer our positive 3 over 2 to the other side of the equation. Changing the sign, that will give us x is equal to negative 3 over 2 plus minus 5 over 2. Ayan. So, let's separate the operation. Meron tayong isang value of x that is equal to negative 3 over 2 plus 5 over 2. So, let's add them. Since pareho na yung denominator nila, we just copy the denominator and add the numerator. So, negative 3 plus 2, that will give us 2 over 2. Then, 2 over 2 is equal to 1. Ayan. Tapos, yung isang value of x naman, it is equal to negative 3 over 2 minus 5 over 2. So, let's subtract the numerator. So, negative 3 minus 5, that will give us negative 8 over, just copy the denominator, 2. So, negative 8 divided by 2, that will give us negative 4. Tapos, meron na tayong dalawang value of x, and they are 1 and negative 4. And that's it. Ta-da! Alright. Okay, let's solve this quadratic equation using completing the square. So, in solving quadratic equation using completing the square, ang unang step natin is to make sure that the leading term, x squared, has a numerical coefficient that is equal to 1. Tapos, ang susunod natin gagawin is, we have to transfer all variable term in the left side and all the constant term in the other side. So, dito, ilipat natin si positive 8 sa kabilang side ng equation natin. Changing the sign, that will give us x squared plus 5x is equal to negative 8. Tapos, let's perform completing the square to make this binomial a perfect square trinomial. So, anong i-add natin kay x squared plus 5x to make it a perfect square trinomial? So, gagamit tayo ng completing the square formula. And that is the square of b over 2. Let's substitute the value of b. Ang b natin is the coefficient of x, and that is 5. So, substitute natin. we will have the square of 5 over 2. So we get the square of 5 and 2. That will give us C is equal to 25 over 4. So the value that we have to add dito sa ating left side of the equation to make it a perfect square trinomial is 25 over 4. So take note, pag nag-add tayo dito ng number sa left side natin, we have to add the same amount dun sa right side of the equation natin. So mag-add 25 over 4 tayo sa left side of the equation natin. Then, let's perform factoring dun sa left side. It will be the square of x plus 5 over 2. Then, it is equal to, so add natin si negative 8 plus 25 over 4 using butterfly method. That will give us negative 7 over 4. So, our equation will now be the square of x plus 5 over 2 is equal to negative 7 over 4. Ang susunod nating step will be solving the quadratic equation using extraction. So let's apply the square root property to get rid of the exponent 2. So maka-cancel out na yung exponent pati yung radical. Magiging x plus 5 over 2 na lang yung ating right side, and it is equal to positive negative I square root of 7 over 2. Then let's transfer 5 over 2 to the other side of the equation. Changing the sign, magiging x is equal to negative 5 over 2 plus minus I square root of 7 over 2. Now, take note, meron tayong dalawang operation. So, meron tayong dalawang value of x. The first one is negative 5 plus I square root of 7 all over 2. And the other one is negative 5 minus I square root of 7 all over 2. And that's it. That will be the value of x. That is equal to negative 5 plus minus I square root of 7 all over 2. Ta-da! Alright. So let's solve for the roots of this quadratic equation using completing the square. So, ang first step natin is to make sure that the numerical coefficient of x squared is equal to 1. So, since meron tayong 4 sa tabi ni x squared, we have to eliminate that by dividing both sides by the value of our numerical coefficient. In this case, it is 4. So, divide natin both sides by 4. So, we will have x squared minus 7x is equal to negative 5 over 4. Tapos, let's transfer all the variable term on the left side and all the constant term on the right side. So, since naka-isolate na yung variable terms natin and yung constant term natin sa left side, then we will now proceed to applying completing the square. So, we will use the formula c is equal to the square of b over 2 to find the value that will make this binomial x squared minus 7x to a perfect square trinomial. So, substitute natin yung ating value of b. In this case, yung value of b natin is yung numerical coefficient ni variable x. So, negative 7 yung coefficient natin. So, that will be the value of b. So, the square of negative 7 over 2. So, we square both numerator and denominator. So, we will have c is equal to 49 over 4. So, the value na i-add natin dito sa binomial natin will be 49 over 4. Now, since nag-add tayo ng 49 over 4 sa left side, we will also add the same value dun sa right side. So, let's add 49 over 4 sa left side. Then, since perfect square trinomial na yung nasa left side natin, we will apply factoring perfect square trinomial. So, it will be factored as the square of x minus 7 over 2. Which is equal to, pag inad natin to, negative 5 plus 49, then we just copy the denominator. That will give us 44 over 4. Thus, 44 over 4 can be simplified to 11. Okay, let's get the square root of both sides para matanggal natin yung exponent. That will give us x minus 7 over 2, and we get the square root of 11. So, since hindi na natin siya pwedeng i-simplify, that will just be positive negative square root of 11. Tapos, let's transfer negative 7 over 2 to the other side. Changing the sign, that will be 7 over 2 plus minus square root of 11. Okay? Now, our final answer, if we're going to rewrite this into having the same denominator using the butterfly method, the value of x will be equal to 7 plus minus 2 square root of 11 over 2. And that's it. Ta-da! Alright. And that is it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you have comments, questions, recommendations, suggestions for my next video, please leave them in our comment section below. Share this video and subscribe. And for more videos like this, you can go to my channel, Teacher Justin. And that is it for today. Again, I'm Teacher Justin. Goodbye, God bless, and stay safe. See you on my next video. Peace.